Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be. Hey, it's another exciting time of science live from the Brenna Bunker in the quarantined Southeast United States. It's Ace Academy, 7th grade science. Once again, I hope everybody's had a fantastic day last day, and I hope you have a fantastic day the rest of today. Make sure you comment in the comment section here. That's how we're taking attendance these days. And make sure you also subscribe to my channel and like the video. When you subscribe, and make sure you are aware of things that get posted so you can check it out immediately before having to wander through Google Classroom. So we get into some weather. And of course, you know, the weather outside today is not exactly the most pleasant, but it's not exactly the worst either. A light rain, overcast clouds. But guess what? All those plants outside, they do need the rain. All those reservoirs that we get our water from to drink and bathe with, they need the rain. So guess what? Rain's not all bad. So this is our 7.E.1, Earth System's weather. I can just explain what weather is. Weather. Do you want to know what the weather is? Look outside. There's a famous movie that I used to watch, saw a long time ago. You want to know what the weather is? Find the window, open it. Yeah, weather's pretty much simple. It's the current atmospheric conditions where you are. Well, that's simple, wasn't it? Really? All right, lesson's over. Bye. No. Yeah, weather's what's basically going on outside right now. Now, I mean, weather, everybody always talks about weather forecast, what's going to be the weather this weekend, but right now, weather is now. So open a window, bam, you got the weather. But for as simple as that seems, the things that have to happen for those conditions outside your window to exist are pretty complex. I mean, think about the clouds, the water vapor, air pressure, all those things going on. I mean, that's a huge interaction of a system that's got so many variables to get to the point where you actually have weather going on where you are. It's pretty amazing. Now, the other thing that we always hear about is climate. And of course, everybody talks about climate change. Oh, the world is ending, all these things. It's like, climate change is bad. Well, hey, I hate to tell you, but, climate change is always happening. So climate is the long-term average of weather. And so when we hear about things, people talking about climate these days, talking about, well, it's a little bit above average. For the weather folk, they average the conditions over 30 years. They look at they look at the temperature for the day this day for the last 30 years, and that's where they get that average that tells them, well, the average temperature day is 64 degrees, but we're going to be a couple degrees above that. Where does that average come from? Well, number one, that's the climate. Number two, they average that over the last 30 years of recorded data, and they do change that. So it's a every 10. So in 20, every decade, 2020, they bump up. The next 10-year period. So in 2021, next year, everybody's climate averages and those average temperatures and stuff that they talk about on the weather reports will have changed, because they'll have gone from using 1990 to 2010 to 2000 to 2000, or 1980 to 2010. And now in 2021, they will use the data from 1990 to 2020. So quite the difference there. And I imagine that those norms will change quickly as we go. Hold on. So climate is what you expect, and weather is what you get. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and highlight the old weather is the current atmosphere conditions where you are. Make sure we highlight that. And climate is the long-term average of weather over 30 years. Make sure you know those two definitions. Climate's what you expect, weather is what you get. All right, so when people talk about weather, they mean the outside conditions. Most people talk about weather, they're thinking about what they're going to be doing this weekend or hoping to be good when they go to the beach or mountains at some point in the future. Well, what is good weather? So that's kind of suggestive as well. So good weather for being outside doing activities may not be good for growing crops. I want it, sunny and warm and no rain because I'll be at the beach and be able to be outside, or be at the mountains and be able to be outside, go hiking and biking, things like that. But as a farmer, you want a regular supply of rain so your crops grow. So what's good for one person may not exactly be good for the person. So it's very subjective. So when people ask what they want for good weather, they will typically will say, if they're not a farmer, they want warm and sunny with a little bit of a breeze, but not too humid. Now we're starting to get into some of the factors that actually go into what makes up weather. So warm refers to the air temperature. Sunny refers to how much cloud cover there is. It also refers to the amount of precipitation. If it's sunny, there's little to no precipitation. A little breeze describes wind speed. Humidity just refers to the amount of water vapor that's dissolved into the atmosphere. Not the only normal weather parameter that a person wanting good weather leaves out when they talk about it is the barometric or air pressure. Barometric refers to the use of a barometer, which is the old instrument used to measure air pressure. Nowadays, air pressure is measured with an electronic device. But in the old days, we used a thing called an aneroid barometer. It looked kind of like, let's see, ship's barometer. You would see something look like this. There's a barometer. And so, this, the needle on the dial. And so this little piece right here, you could move it and set it. It has a dial right here on the front and then the needle of what it's doing. So you could, in the morning, you would put it to where the needle was, and then you could tell, is it going up or is it going down? So, so barometers, the current pressure, it has, okay, it tells you some things. But when pressure changes is when it tells you that the weather is going to change, especially as a captain of a ship sailing on the ocean. Weather is important to you. So you can see, so the higher the pressure, it goes over here. So it's 30 and it goes fair, and then it goes 31, it goes very dry. So it's like, all right, so good, not a lot happens over here, but then, it drops below 30, 29 and a half, you get change. Below 29, you get rain, and below 28, it says stormy. Yeah. When your pressure drops down that low, you're talking, there might be a hurricane wandering around. So that's why it says stormy. It's more than just a little stormy. Anyway, so for daily weather here, temperature, in the United States, it's measured by a thermometer in Fahrenheit degrees. We're one of the few places left that has, that relies on non-metric scale things. And so we're still using Fahrenheit degrees. So, we consider a day and it's hot. It's like 95 degrees. Well, most science things use the Celsius scale, so you have to be really kind of sure what thermometer scales we use about the weather. Because you pick up a weather report from someplace else, and it talks about, wow, it's really hot down here at 30 degrees, and you go, that's not hot. Well, 30 degrees Celsius is pretty hot. It's about 100 degrees. So it's in the 90s. So like 32, 34 Celsius, yeah, you're talking, hot outside. But that's just, again, there's two different scales. You got to be aware of which scale they're using and make sure you know what the relevant conditions are, for each one. So weather cloud cover, here's the next thing, is talked about in terms of sunny, and they say mostly sunny, and they say partly sunny, and then they say partly cloudy, mostly cloudy, and cloudy. So 6 partitions to how much sky is visible. When you hear it's partly cloudy today, that's right here. So that's 50% of the sky covered would be right here between partly cloudy and partly sunny. 51% is partly sunny. It's 49% is partly cloudy. So, or excuse me, the other way around. 49% is partly sunny. 51% covered is partly cloudy. So you hear these different terms. So cloudy means it's pretty much overcast. Sunny means there's no clouds for the most part. And then you have the gradations in between. So humidity is measured in percent. Remember, humidity is the amount of water vapor that is in the air. But the amount of water vapor that the air can contain actually depends on its temperature and the air pressure. So we list it, in the weather world, we list the humidity as a percentage of the maximum amount of water that particular amount, air will hold. So if the air pressure changes or the temperature changes, then the humidity percentage will change because cooler air can't hold as much water as warmer air. So if suddenly the air cools off, your humidity level will actually go up. Or if your air pressure drops, lower air pressure holds more water. Higher air pressure holds less water. So that's the other way around. Either way. So let's go back to my pressure setting, and just suddenly brain says, I don't know which one it is. Some days it happens like that when you get older. But anyway, the amount of water that's dissolved into the air, evaporated water vapor, measured in as a percentage of the maximum based on that air mass. So when you hear, it's, humidity is, 70%, okay, no big deal. They probably wouldn't even mention it 70%. But at 90%, yes, humidity is 90% today. Well, that's out there. That's pretty good. So that means, when you're out there doing your activity, you're sweating, your sweat just stays on your skin, doesn't evaporate quickly. That way you can't get rid of your body heat as quickly as you normally could. And that way it feels warmer than it actually is, because you can't get the water to evaporate off your skin. Remember, evaporation, when water goes from a liquid to a gas, it takes heat energy to do that. So it absorbs the heat from your body to turn that water into a gas. That's why sweating is such an efficient way of, and again, it goes back to that qualities of water thing we talked about a couple lessons ago, that the heat capacity of water, and it's amazing. And so that's why sweating is such an efficient way to get rid of the excess heat that your body generates. It's amazing how that works that way, right? But when the humidity is high, the sweat doesn't evaporate nearly as fast, and then you feel much hotter because you can't shed the heat from your body. So let's see, we get down here to wind speed. Wind speed is given in miles per hour here in the United States. Wind speed is also referred to in steady and gust readings. So if you ever see, it's like, wind is, steady at, 10 miles an hour, gusting to 15. So then you're having, typically when you have a storms come through, they'll talk about the gust speed of the wind. So it's not gonna be the steady speed, it might be 40 mile an hour steady, a gust over 70. Well, that gust might actually blow a limb off a tree or something. So that's why it's important, to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So, I mean, weather is a very, like I said, it's very complex, very interesting for some people, and very, but it's relevant to everybody's daily lives. I mean, of course, if you don't know what the weather is, you don't know what clothes to put on in the morning. Even in the, in the spring, you got to pay attention to the weather, because it's like, do you put shorts on or do you put pants on? Do you put a t-shirt on? Do you put a sweatshirt on? Because it could be 40 degrees outside, it could be 70 degrees outside. So you do need to pay attention. That's why you pay attention to the weather, so you figure out how to, address the conditions and be appropriate for them. When you go like, hey, I want to go shoot some baskets. What's the weather like? Well, it's raining. Well, you're not going to go shoot baskets outside when it rains. But you might go wander down to the creek to see what's going on with all that, water that's been, coming off the different places, that fills up, gets the creek going real good. You might go throw rocks or sticks in the creek while the water's up. So depending on, what's going on, you might change your activity. But you have to check the weather first. then you check the weather, you have to actually know what the thing that they're saying is. So many people care so much about the weather, they get personal weather stations. Check this out. So they get things that look like this. So if you ever go to Weather Underground, and it's a particular weather site, and when you go to their maps, it'll it's got a bunch of stuff on it that is pretty neat. Come on, computer. We're in Charlotte, full cast. Flood warning. Okay, watch out for that. 58 degrees. Go to our full forecast. Hey, look, a laser thermometer for your forehead. We go to the Wonder Map here. This is the neat thing. It's kind of got this, remember this weather station here, this thing right here. People put these in their backyards. And it's got this little piece right here. It's the anemometer. It tells you how fast the wind's blowing. The wind vane tells you where the wind's coming from. It's got a thing that catches the water. It's got a temperature sensor in here. Down here, it's got a lightning sensor in it. That's kind of cool. And a barometer in there, so it tells you all kinds of different stuff. But then it also connects to this program right here called Weather Underground. And if the map will load, there we go. You saw these dots on here. Hey, it's like, hey, what is this dot? What are these things? Let's just zoom in a little bit here. Let me zoom in, a little more dots will come up. Zoom in a little more dots come up. Now, here's Highway 49. Here's Harrisburg, where the school is. I know I live down over here. And so there's somebody fairly close by. That's a couple miles away. It's got one of those little weather stations sitting in their backyard. Bradford Park. We swim against them. It's got station ID. Let's try to pick one that's actually going to give me the listing right here. There it is, Prosperity Church Road. So this little dot is one of these personal weather stations sitting in somebody's backyard that's attached to Weather Underground. And it tells you what the temperature is, tells you what the dew point is. Look at that, humidity, 99%. Well, it's raining outside, or just was. So yeah, the humidity is going to be real high. Precipitation, 2 inches over the last day. Barometric pressure, 29.76 inches. Either doesn't have wind speed or it's not hooked up. Let's see. Because I can tell, see, it's got that little stick on it, and that one's it's got wind on it. All right, so this one up here at Concord, 56 degrees, humidity's dropping down a little bit, 96%, precipitation, 2 inches last day, pressure 29.13, and this one's got wind from the northeast at 1 miles per hour, gust 2. Well, that's a really big gust, right? 1 mile an hour, then the actual wind's blowing. But it's from the northeast, so the wind's blowing from up here going that way, from the northeast. From means that's the wind, that's the direction the wind is coming out of. So, I mean, and so what that, by getting that little weather station doodad, and you can plug it into here. If I went and bought one, my dot would pop up over here and it'd have a little thing on it like that. And I keep thinking, hey, that's kind of cool. But then this Weather Underground takes that information from all these different little weather stations and helps it develop its weather reports. So when you do something like that, and you put that stuff out and gather that data, it's more data points for for this company to use to develop their weather reports. And the more data you have, typically the more accurate your report is. So you can put this thing, you put this little thing in your house, and what the weather is almost on a daily basis, on a minute-by-minute basis. You can have an app that goes to your phone. So at any place, you can dial up your own weather station at home. Hey, what's the weather like in my house right now? And see what's going on. So weather is like I said, plays a very important thing into our daily lives, whether we realize it or not. But it is it affects us minute in and minute out. Whether are we going to go outside? Are we going to go inside? Are we going to eat on the porch? Are we going to eat in the kitchen? Are we going to go play soccer today? Or are we going to stay in and play on the Xbox? So all those kind of things play into what the weather's doing. So we're going to spend about the next 9 days going through the different things that go into weather. We're going to talk about air masses. We're going to talk about fronts, severe storms, and then weather. Spend a couple days on 3-4 days on weather forecasting and instruments. So I mean, by the end of this thing, you guys will be very versed in weather and what its implications are in the lives of everybody. So real brief lesson today, real just a kind of an intro and overview, but again, it's something that we're going to spend a good bit of time coming up. So pay attention to it and enjoy the weather. Have a great day. I hope remember to say here down in the comment section. Remember to sign up on my channel and give me that thumbs up for a like as well, please. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.